Hello everyone, my name is Kabeer Shamsoodeen and I will be taking you through avoidant personality disorder. It falls under cluster C of personality disorders in the DSM-5 TR. So today we'll be going through what is AVPD, the DSM-5 TR diagnostic criteria, the key concepts, what it means to be someone with AVPD as well as the comorbidity. We'll also be going through the etiology, the gender aspects, prevention of AVPD, as well as the impact it has on loved ones. What is AVPD? So, avoidant personality disorder is categorized by chronic feelings of inadequacy and extreme sensitivity to criticism, leading to an overwhelming fear of rejection, which in turn leads to avoidance of social interactions and situations. This disorder falls under cluster C of personality disorders, which is characterized by anxious and fearful traits. Avoidant personality disorder is closely associated with low self-esteem and a pervasive pattern of social inhibition. Okay, so let's take a look at the DSM-5 TR's diagnostic criteria for avoidant personality disorder. So we're looking for a pervasive pattern of social inhibition, feelings of inadequacy, and hypersensitivity to negative evaluation, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts, as indicated by 4 or more of the following. So criterion 1 avoids occupational activities that involve significant interpersonal contact because of fears of criticism, disapproval, or rejection. Criterion 2 is unwilling to get involved with people unless certain of being liked. Criterion 3 shows restraint within intimate relationships because of fear of being shamed or ridiculed. Criterion 4 is preoccupied with being criticized or rejected in social situations. Criterion 5 is inhibited in new interpersonal situations because of feelings of inadequacy. Criterion 6 views self as socially inept, personally unappealing, or inferior to others. And lastly, criterion 7 is unusually reluctant to take personal risks or to engage in any new activities because they may prove embarrassing. So I have this little mnemonic I've been using to remember the diagnostic criteria for avoidant personality disorder. The word is cringes. Okay, so we have cringes. We need 4 of these criteria or 4 of these letters to be able to diagnose someone with avoidant personality disorder. So we have C, which stands for certainty, which is the second diagnostic criteria. So certainty as in they are unwilling to get involved with people unless they are certain that they are liked by those people. Then we have R, which is rejection, the fourth diagnostic criteria is where the person is preoccupied with being criticized or rejected in social situations. Then we have I, which is intimate relationships. That is the third diagnostic criteria, where the person shows restraint within intimate relationships because of fear of being shamed or ridiculed. Then we have N, new interpersonal relationships, which is criterion 5. This is where the person is inhibited in new interpersonal situations because of feelings of inadequacy. Then we have G, which is criterion 1, gets around occupational activity, where basically they avoid occupational activities that involve significant interpersonal contact because of fears of criticism, disapproval, or rejection. Then we have E, which is embarrassment, the last criterion, criterion 7. This is where the person is unusually reluctant to take personal risks or to engage in any new activities because they may prove embarrassing. Lastly, we have S, which is self-viewed, which is criterion 6, and this is where the person views themselves as socially inept, personally unappealing, or inferior to others. Taking a look at some of the key concepts of AVPD, I think it's important to acknowledge that AVPD develops early in adulthood and persists in various settings. Job promotions are often denied because of their inability to deal with the increased amount of tasks and the fact that it may result in their coworkers being critical of them. They also have issues when it comes to interpersonal intimacy. They find it difficult. But when they do form, they are able to form deep connections, but they need to be certain and unquestioning of their partner's approval. Lastly, they are often prone to exaggerating the possible risks of everyday experiences, which may result in a constrained lifestyle due to their demand for certainty and security. So, what does it actually mean to be someone with AVPD? To be someone with avoidant personality disorder means experiencing significant challenges in social interactions, relationships, and self esteem due to a pervasive pattern of avoidance, fear of criticism, and feelings of inadequacy. Living with avoidant personality disorder involves individuals having to frequently anticipate degradation or humiliation, and their self protective response to this is usually social withdrawal. Coping mechanisms such as perfectionism, both adaptive and maladaptive, are used to control symptoms, while negative perception and avoidance behaviors contribute to the cycle of isolation and distress. So next we have the comorbidity of AVPD. According to Lamb and Malhi, avoidant personality disorder is often comorbid with depression and substance use disorders. AVPD is often associated with depressive and anxiety disorders, particularly social anxiety, and avoidant and schizoid personality disorders are frequently co-diagnosed. So, in terms of the etiology of AVPD, we see that genetic, temperamental, and childhood variables all contribute to the development of personality disorders. While studies on etiological features in avoidant personality disorder are limited, the available literature emphasizes the need of taking genetic and personality factors into account. Research also suggests that experiences of rejection and marginalization during childhood and the innate traits of social anxiety and avoidance may contribute to avoidant personality disorder. Avoidance in social situations has been detected as early as 2 years, at the age of 2 years. So, moving on to gender, according to Holthausen and Harbel, empirical research on sex differences in personality disorders is inconsistent and appears to be highly reliant on study settings. The prevalence of AVPD is approximately 2.4% worldwide, and in terms of gender distribution, AVPD affects men and women similarly. However, some studies indicate a slightly higher prevalence in women. In terms of symptom presentation, men tend to exhibit more overt avoidance behaviors, whereas women show higher levels of emotional distress and comorbid conditions like anxiety and depression. So now we're taking a look at prevention and treatment. In terms of early interventions, we could address social anxiety and shyness in children, and we could promote positive social interactions and self-esteem. In terms of parenting and education, fostering a supportive home environment is really important. And then encouraging social skills development through positive reinforcement. There are also therapeutic approaches which involve the use of cognitive behavioral therapy early on, and also implementing exposure therapy for social comfort. Lastly, we have social skills training, which is basically just developing programs to enhance social skills and assertiveness and using support groups to build confidence. So, lastly, we have the impact on loved ones. So, you'd expect strained relationships, which is difficulty forming and maintaining close relationships due to fear of rejection. Then we have emotional distance, which is withdrawal from loved ones to avoid perceived criticism. Then misinterpretation of social cues, which is difficulty understanding social cues, which leads to conflicts within families. Then usually people with AVPD have a strong need for validation and they fear rejection. So what comes up is the dependency and need for reassurance. Then we have disrupted family dynamics where there's tension within households due to avoidance behaviors. Then we have limited social activities, which is avoidance of social events, which impacts shared experiences. And lastly, we have feelings of guilt and frustration due to loved ones feeling helpless and burdened because of their inability to help the person with ABPD. Lastly, thank you so much for your time. That's been me, Kabeer Shamsoodeen, and I just presented Avoidant Personality Disorder.